In this video, I show how to make a secure case from common household items: tape, aluminum foil, scissors, ruler, and that's it, which you can put your cell phone or smartphone or other device into this case, close it up like this, basically, and it will prevent the phone from spying on you, tracking on you, taking pictures, listening in on you, any of that kind of stuff. There are commercial products that do this. They typically cost 20, 30 bucks. They might become unavailable if there is more government control and censorship like we're seeing currently. These are also durable. They look pretty good, and you can decorate the exterior of this any way you like. And they're very cheap, actually, because all you're using is tape and aluminum foil and common household items. Just ordinary pair of scissors, an ordinary ruler will work fine. Let me just show exactly what you do. So this is my phone. You put it inside here. It's insulated inside, so you can put the phone in safely, because the phones will interact with metal linings, which actually happens with this commercial product here. But in mine, I've taped inside, so actually the phone is in a secure pocket, and it won't interact. The touchscreen will not interact with the metal foil. You close it like this, and you have something you can take with you. You can put, probably for, it's a little big, it's kind of hard to put this in your pockets of your clothing, although you can do that. It's probably better to put it in something like a backpack, a fanny pack. I've illustrated a lot of this in some previous videos. Just to give you an idea of what you're getting here, this probably costs, I don't know, a couple of dollars maximum, depending on how you value your tape. The biggest obstacle is just putting it together. In the demo video, it took a little under a half hour to do. It's not the first time I've done it. So it probably will take you maybe a little bit longer if it's your first time. If you're very accustomed to do it yourself projects like this, you may actually do it faster than me, because that's not really my forte. I'm primarily a developer of mathematically oriented algorithms, things like video compression and mathematical sort of artificial intelligence analysis, data science. So my area is actually not making do-it-yourself gadgets like this, but I have various security concerns with my business, so I've developed some knowledge of how to do some of these things. So I wanted to share this with people in the current environment, so even if you can't, for whatever reason, get one of these, or I've also illustrated how you can use some metal containers for food or other items as actually a poor man's one of these. You can actually make these with readily available materials. As I said, aluminum foil, a ruler, an ordinary pair of scissors, and tape. This is a demonstration on how to create a moderately durable, visually appealing, secure case, also known as a Faraday bag, for your smartphone or other device that communicates with cellular networks, radio networks, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. When the phone is inside the case, and this is an actual commercial case that I got from Amazon, you can put it inside, seal it like this, and you can verify this using a phone. Make a call to it, and you realize it doesn't pick up. You can verify that it doesn't pick up. But these are cases you can get. They're about $20 to $30. I'm going to show how to make one for a lot less, but they're $20 to $30. And they will, in fact, isolate your phone. It can't take pictures of you. It can't monitor you. It can't spy on you. It can't track you. And yet you have the phone with you for emergencies. You need to call 911. Maybe you're stranded somewhere, and there's no information. The GPS system can't say where you were. You have true privacy like in the old days. And yet you have the phone for special occasions and emergencies. Now, there's a lot of things we use the phones for. You can get a separate music player and camera. Make sure you get ones which do not have radio in them. That can be hard to do today, but you can get them still. Or disable, physically disable the radio in those devices. Then you can do most of the things that we use the phones for, actually. I mostly have used it prior to getting the case for things like taking pictures and for listening to music. And you don't actually need a phone or anything that has any kind of radio connection to do that. That's just a modern, unnecessary, quote, convenience. That means the device can track you, can spy on you, can collect information that can be used to manipulate you, to target you with advertising, to manipulate you into doing various things that may not be in your interest. Well, let's get going and show how to do this with common household materials. So we need a ruler, pair of scissors, just any old scissors would do, aluminum foil. These are all that you need. Oh, and sorry, I forgot one more thing, tape. So it's done with tape, it's done with aluminum foil, it's done with rulers. Unlike some of my previous demonstrations, there's no glue, there's no hot glue, no special materials like felt that might become hard to get. These are just readily available materials. Probably many people watching this even already have all these materials at home, or they're a quick trip to the grocery store, drugstore, other places. So let's get going. Put those aside. The first step is we want to measure out a sheet of aluminum foil. It needs to be a conducting metal foil of some kind or conducting material. And maybe in a later video I'll discuss some alternatives to aluminum foil. But right now what I'm doing is using standard aluminum foil that you can get pretty much anywhere today. And what we're going to want to be able to do with this is turn it into a case like this that opens up and you can put the phone in it. So we can use the phone, and you'll need to measure it out for your phone. I already know kind of the dimensions of my phone, so this will go quickly for me, but you do need to make measurements with the ruler and figure out where you're going to cut and fold the aluminum foil. So what we want is about 4 inches leeway. So the phone, so this will be the opening of the phone up here, of the case here at this end, and on the other side a matching opening. We need it to fold together like this, and we want bare aluminum, bare metal foil or conducting foil material to be snugly against each other. We're going to fold it over to make a hermetic seal. However, we want actually to reinforce, we want to do 2 things here, which was what the tape is for. One purpose is to simply reinforce the tin foil, which is very fragile. We're going to tape it completely over on the outside, and we're going to create a section here where the phone resides. That will help protect the tin foil from the phone. It will also prevent the phone touchscreen from interacting with the conducting foil. So the way that these touchscreens work is they are based on the fact that your fingers are actually a conducting surface, and so there's a capacitor essentially built into the glass surface of the phone, and it has an electrical interaction. What that means is if you put the phone inside of one of these cases that's metal lined, there will be interactions, and that could be anywhere from annoying to possibly harmful. So I've had at least a couple cases where it seemed like it actually managed to enter the passcode for the phone and start doing things. You obviously don't want that to happen. Now you can always wrap it if you have this. What I do with this phone case, by the way, which has a metal lining, is I wrap it in paper towel or something else, a piece of cloth that's an insulator that protects it so those interactions don't occur. But this design for the homemade case actually is already insulated. It'll have tape in this area right here. Okay. So what we want is 4 inches here. We want the width of the phone here. The width, so that takes us from 4 inches here to 7 inches. That's 3 inches, so we want to go over here to 10. So the phone would go up to here, and then another 4 inches here, which takes us to 14. So we want to, let's see if I can kind of mark this a little bit. So actually, I think the easiest way is probably like this. I'll make a little mark on the tin foil, just crunch it down so I can see where I'm going to cut. Okay, so what we want to do is now cut the tin foil, or I always say a tin foil, but it hasn't been tin foil for generations. In fact, I don't think it was aluminum foil when I was a kid, so it's just an anachronism from like the 1800s or something. More history than probably many of you care about, but anyway. So again, the tin foil is very fragile, so try to be really slow and careful doing this, even though it seems really easy. It's very easy to poke a hole in it, in which case you have to start over. So remember, to isolate the phone, to create a genuine Faraday cage, contrary to some things you may have heard and may see online and even in physics books, you have to have an almost perfect hermetic seal. There can't be any small cracks. The radio signal will go right through the cracks. I've tested this many times, and it's clear that it happens. That's what makes it difficult to make a homemade Faraday cage. Okay, so the next step is we want to fold this over one time all the way over. And, again, tinfoil is not the easiest stuff to work with, or aluminum foil is not the easiest material to work with. We want to line up the edges, and then we want to straighten it out here. And again, because it crinkles and bends and things like that, it's stuff and doesn't come out exactly as you might like. You have to kind of live with it. If it's good enough, it's good enough. And we can verify that it's good enough by making phone calls to verify that the seal is actually working. All right, so that's there. Okay, so now so again, this is going to fold like this to make a case for the phone. I'll put the phone back in temporarily, and remember the phone, we want to center it. Now, in order for the hermetic seal to be created, we need to leave the section here exposed and the section here exposed. So we will fold those over to make a good seal. However, we want a place for the phone, which would be here, where we want to put down the tape. So I'm going to use any old small household items to mark out where the edges are here. And once we've done that, we want to move this over like that. So we're making an area for the, this is a minion from Despicable Me, by the way. But you can use whatever works for you. And another item here. Okay, and there may be other ways to do this with the ruler, but this is how I've been doing it. Okay, so now we want to put down tape in this region, a region where the phone will fit. Okay, so let me pull these back a little bit, give us a little bit of extra room. Okay, so that's there. Okay, let's move the phone aside. And now we're going to use the tape. And the tape will go about here. So and I'm just sort of eyeballing it. Okay, so we're going to put that down there, and we're going to tape it. And I made the tape a little bit long, so we'll gently peel it back. In fact, let me peel it back just a tad more. And here you have to be really careful, it'll tear it. So it's best to measure the tape out. Just right. Okay. So that's the first piece of tape. Now, just as a reminder why we're doing this is going to reinforce the tinfoil and protect it, and it will provide an insulating pocket to put the phone. So the phone is going to go here, like that, and that's fine. Yeah, so actually we have plenty of room for the phone. Okay, so let's do another piece of tape, and we will try to do this. And we will do here. Okay, we have another piece of tape. Now don't push it down right away. See if it lines up correctly. It's too long, you can cut it. All right, so we'll do a little bit of an overlap here because we want this to be complete. We don't want the metal to touch the phone. So we have another piece. And we will need another piece of tape. So you can kind of eyeball it. About there. Okay, so there's the tape. Okay, we've got this section here. Let's see if the phone is going to fit. Now we need to put a little bit more on. Okay. All right. So let's see. Yeah, we're going to need a little bit more room for the tape. So actually, we don't need a big piece of tape. So I have a smaller thing of tape here, which will do just fine. Now, if you were stuck with the big tape, you'd have to do some cutting and fiddling around. But we have a piece of tape. Okay. There we go. And let's see now if we have sufficient room. Okay. All right. So we have a place for the tape. And all right. So let's go to the next step. You can put away our marking devices here. Maybe he's distracting, so we'll put him out of sight. Okay. So the next step in doing this is, okay. So we're going to keep the phone inside and fold this over to make, and it's actually not centered quite as well as I would like, but we'll just have to see if that works all right. So what we're going to do is we fold over these edges twice. So it has to be really snug here. Press it down and repeat again. And before I tape it, I'm going to, okay, so actually we're going to do a larger size because it's not quite centered right, but we'll live with that for now. Okay, you can see the phone shifted inside. We want the phone down at the bottom. And of course, let me see if I can show this adequately. You can see that the phone is inside the taped area, which is at the bottom. And that way it's protected from, and the phone is protected from the foil is protected from the phone, both of them. Good fences make good neighbors. So let's try folding this over. So before I do further taping, I want to test that this is working okay. And you might have to start over if this test failed. So I have a phone, and I'm going to hit redial, which has my number. Okay, this takes a few seconds. If the seal is working correctly, the phone will not be able to talk to the cellular network. And as a result, the phone call will not complete. You'll get the okay. Okay, I'm hearing a ring. Hearing the ring.
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Please try your call again later. Goodbye.
Okay, so it failed. So what happens is it talks to my cellular service provider. That is, my phone does. This phone over here, it's not able to get through because this is sealed. So we verified that the seal here is working. That's not a surprise. If you do what I just did, I found that usually works. Now, a single fold doesn't work consistently. You need to do this double fold where you bend it over once, seal it, and then bend it over a second time. And then that seems to stop the radio signals. So the point is that the radio signals can go through very fine cracks in these containers, which is actually contrary to what's often widely claimed about Faraday bags or Faraday cages. Okay, so the next step is we want to tape these down. So, okay, good. So actually, it seems better to me to start at this end. I'm not sure, that may just be one of my personal quirks, but it seems to be a little bit easier to do it this way. And we want to seal. We want to make sure that the seal is going to hold. And this will also, the tape again, will reinforce the foil. And I'm repeating myself to sort of reinforce the message. There we go. So I curled it over here to give it a good solid seal. And we're going to do the same here. Not the big tape. Use a thin piece of tape like this for this part. And we'll start at this end again. We're going to seal it down. We want the seal to be really good, so we want to hold it in place, tightly sealed. And we're going to come around like this. Clip. I close the seal. You can't really see it that well, but this is what I did. So it's the other end. So far, so good. Okay, so now this is the opening, and it's analogous to this opening on the commercial case here. You can see in the commercial case you have this foil. It's not really foil, I'm not sure what it is, but this metal line material here, which may be impossible to get a hold of if there's censorship. All right, so that's done. And now what do we want to do? We want to tape the whole thing. So we're going to cover it with tape so that it looks good and to strengthen it substantially. So that we can use this bigger thing of tape. This is actually Scotch from 3M. It's some kind of painter's tape. Seems to work well. So actually, yeah. Let me see if I can do this. All right. So we want to start by reinforcing the edges, and then we'll move on to... actually, I think it might be better to do it kind of like this. No, I'm not doing. I'm just going to do it straight across. I'm not going to experiment. All right. All right, so we go along the edge here, curve this over like that, and we fold it over here. And that will provide a strong seal there. We'll do the same on the other side. Again, what we're going to want to do is, let's see. Again, I think we want to start at this end. We'll do that. Again, start at one end and press down. And we want to go over the end here. We're going to cut. Again, I'll just do it. This may not be the best way to make the cut, but it's good enough. All right, so we're going to close the end like that. And again, either if you know more about taping or you experiment, you may find some slightly better ways to do this, but this is what I'm demonstrating for now. Okay, so that started it. And actually, okay. All right, so we're going to go on this end. All right, so now, actually, what do we want to do here? All right, we want to reinforce the bottom at this point. We'll try that. Okay, so the idea is the edges are particularly fragile is the concern. So let me try this, okay? You can see here. You can push it up where the camera can see it. In fact, let's push this forward a little bit so it's easier to see what I'm doing. All right. So I would say that we want to fold this over and be kind of careful doing it because, okay. Press everything down. You want these to be very tight and snug. You want to seal the adhesion of the tape to be really good. And we'll probably fix up the edges later a little bit. Okay, so let's now continue with the taping. Again, we want it to be really snug here. And phone is slipping forward. Well, the reason for having the phone inside is to make sure it fits snugly, but fits comfortably at the same time, so you can put the phone in and out easily when you're using it in the field, in real life. So there we go, another piece of tape. Okay. And yeah, you can see me cutting. It tends to move around. Okay, make sure it's on. Remember, we want this on tight to the tin foil. It's reinforcing the tin foil and protecting it and making it look better. All right, so there we go. We're going to have to do some things on the other side. And on this side, we need one more piece of tape right here. All right. And actually, you can't really see. Let me move it forward. I'm going to cut off a piece here. Again, we want to press it down. We want to make sure it's tight. No air bubbles, things like that if possible, or as few as many possible. We will flip over, and again, we'll go here. And we're going to switch around to the other side. And, okay. So again, just as a reminder, we're trying to duplicate this shape here. So we're going to go there, and what I'm going to do is, again, we want to strengthen this and try to also, we want to try to minimize things that might get caught on, little corners. Go, fold that over, press it down. All right. All right. And now let's see what we can do here. Okay, so we need to tape this side, the remainder of this side. So let's start up here, do that, and actually I see that's why you have to be kind of careful. So I missed a spot here. We'll fix that. All right. And we'll fix that. And let's make sure that's covered. So we're covering over the foil for two reasons: to make it look better, and more importantly, to protect the foil from being damaged. And this first layer of tape also provides a a sort of foundation for which you could decorate or further reinforce, probably both, the case. So if you wanted to make it look more appealing than this, you could then put various designs on or things like that. All right. Okay, let's chop that. All right, the phone is coming out again. There we go. Let's pull that apart. No problem there. Phone is back in its insulating case. Okay, I'm not even showing this. Okay, so we have another piece of tape. We're almost done. And yeah, we're going to have to cover some things up. And we'll... And okay, let's give ourselves more room. Now recall that the foil is pretty fragile, so putting a lot of tape on it to protect it is, and strengthen it, is not a problem, or shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I think there's a spot where I'm trying to see if I could, yeah, here this didn't really get sealed properly, this end. So we'll put out a small piece of the large tape, trim it off, and we're going to cover the end edge there. Yeah, there we go, like that. So we're going to put it here. Actually, I want to put it more like this, more like this. And basically we're just taping down to make sure it doesn't have an exposed edge. And you probably want to make especially sure that the corners and edges are sealed and reinforced really well. Okay, so we want to run the test now with this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fold this over once, fold it over twice. Okay, so for this test, I'm just going to put it like that. And we'll do this again. And I'm going to okay, so this takes a while. We have to wait for the cellular network to try to talk to the phone.
I'm sorry, the person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Okay. Okay, so you can see it failed. And just as a point of reference, let me show what happens when it's not in the case. Okay, so we've opened this. All right. All right, so this is the phone. All right, so let's try the redial again. All right. So you can hear and see. All right, I'll hang up the phone. That might have actually been on the thing. Okay. All right, so you can see that it does work. And we're basically done, other than adding some type of fastener to this. For example, this is very crude. You could use like a paper clip. We're just thinking of at-home items just to hold it when you put it in a backpack or something to take it with you. I'm not going to illustrate in this demo adding a Velcro strips, but that's a definite possibility you would add. And I've shown that in other videos, demos, where you can put the Velcro strip here and the other part of the Velcro strip here and then close. So there are various fasteners that you could use at this point so it'll seal up. They use something like Velcro here on this one here. So that's basically how you do it. And of course, you can use other types of tape and various variations on the idea. But now we have something that looks pretty nice. It's reinforced, it's durable, and it probably costs $2 for the common household materials, which I will remind you consist of aluminum foil, Painter's tape and other tapes will work. A pair of scissors. You don't need to use any kind of glue. You don't have to worry about either the hot melt glue or like the crazy glue, the heavy duty glues that will stick very quickly to your hands and are an irritant. None of that. Just, again, aluminum foil, tape, and a pair of scissors and a ruler. I didn't mention the ruler, but also you need a ruler. That's all you need. And this took about, I don't know, 30 minutes. Realistically, if you're doing it for the first time, you'll probably do something wrong, so you probably have to add some time to screw up and start over again. This concludes this video presentation. If you like this video, please click like. Please click subscribe and the notification bell if you would like to receive more content from us. You can avoid internet censorship by subscribing directly to our RSS news feed. Please consider sharing the link by email or on your website or blog, in addition to liking, upvoting, or sharing on increasingly censored, advertising beholden, and big company social media. We have encountered such censorship. Mathematical Software is developing software to automate data analysis, reducing the risks of costly errors and improving results. You can support our work financially by subscribing on our Patreon page. Scan the QR code in the lower right corner to get the Patreon link. Our Patreon link is also in the show notes below.